Hello Scrolls fans, Smogan here with an episode of Scrollscast. For those new to the series, what I'm going to do is just watch a highly ranked game between two very strong players and commentate on it, give you a picture of what some of the more advanced Scrolls strategy might look like. This is of course my first video in the Scrolls 1.0 release edition. I am so excited right now, and it's a good game set up. Quick start by both players, kehmesis on the left playing mono growth, siRisacc on the right playing mono order late game version. He has a good start with a sin-marked zealot with a power bound on it, facing off against kehmesis' kinfolk brave. Both of these players are relatively well known from their exploits in the beta version of the game. You see the beta avatar head down here, and we have the one of the tournament avatar heads down here for siRisacc. Kinfolk Brave kills the siRisacc's unit. It had power bound on it though, so it gives him a free order, so he's okay with losing it, so he gets to accelerate a little bit. kehmesis also played a breaker in the second row, ready to go. siRisacc is going to go up and now can play out Gallant Defender. He has Mangonel speed in hand, an excellent combination there. Gallant Defender, because there's fewer units on siRisacc's side of the board, has armor 2, so not at all scared of the Kinfolk Brave. kehmesis looks to be playing a mid-range version of the growth deck, but we'll see as his hand develops. I'm basing that off the Rat King and Striped Fangbear. Rat King in particular is not very common in the aggro versions, though some players do play it in the aggro version of the growth deck. Rat King is played out. It'll defend these top three, make the arrow formation, breaker in the middle, and the Kinfolk Brave gets in for 2 damage on the idol, first blood. Imperial resources for siRisacc. He may try to build up to 7 to use that. Of course, it's a centerpiece of his deck, but he really needs to get something else going as well. He unfortunately just has to pass his turn without playing anything, and he is planning a Mangonel speed for next turn, so kehmesis will need to space to watch out for that if he sees it coming. I don't know that he will, though. Earthen Mirth comes down on the Kinfolk Brave, buffing the attack up to 6, which will be just enough to take out the Gallant Defender. And look at the spacing right now. Mangonel speed is going to be big. Arbalest Steer is going to be sacrificed. We're going to see the Mangonel come down right smack in the middle, and note where it targets those 3 units. They all have 3 or less health and all drop. So siRisacc is able to take out most of kehmesis' early advantage with that combo. Of course, siRisacc went to 0 cards in hand, which is a negative for him. He'll need to get drawing as quickly as he can. kehmesis looking to rebuild with a Nog Nest and an Earthborn Keeper. Earthborn Keeper spreads out a little bit, and the rats nibble on the Mangonel to take it down. siRisacc finds a Tempo Theft. Interesting. That is not a very commonly played scroll, and neither is Royal Banner. So he's got some interesting tech cards in his deck. We'll see if he's able to put them to good use. For this turn, though, he just drops an Aging Knight. Not a very strong turn for him, but he just wasn't given much by his deck there. kehmesis finds a Fangbear and a Breaker, can only afford 1. Probably play out, I was going to say the Fangbear, but the Breaker's a good choice too. Uses it to defend the Nog Nest. He really wants those Nogs to spawn. When that building pops in 2 rounds, it'll be 2 3s that come down. And the Earthborn Keeper gets 1 attack from the Breaker and gets that damage into the middle idol. Righteous Partisan, exactly what siRisacc wants to see right now. It'll be a strong creature in play that cantrips, drawing him a scroll. So he does that first. Let's see what he gets off of it. Finds an Honorable General. Royal Banner is strong against non-humans. kehmesis has primarily humans in his deck. He has a few beasts, but the Royal Banner is not super strong against it. So he gets rid of it. Power bound on his Aging Knight and gets an attack off on the Breaker, drops it down to 1 health. Wetland Ranger for kehmesis. He might keep that. Fangbear is pretty good though with that Relentless, helps you get through some of those units, and that's what he decides to keep. Finds an Earthborn Mystic as well, one of the strongest scrolls in the game right now. But the Fangbear is the play. It triggers the Earthborn Keeper to get +1 attack. And the units are going to come in and deal just a little bit of damage. No tremendous blows dealt to idols yet, but he is positioning next turn to try to get a few creature kills off. Note that the Nogs will spawn, bringing the Earthborn Keeper up to at least 2 attack next turn if everything survives. siRisacc finds a Releros but gets rid of it immediately. Aging Knight and Speed are available, so he could Mangonel Speed right now. It would deal a little bit of damage but wouldn't stop these Nogs from spawning. So I'm not sure that that will be the play. Maybe he drops just Honorable General, or maybe he could go Aging Knight and plan for next turn, though he's going to lose quite a bit this turn. I don't know how much he... Well, I guess he can probably anticipate that based on the combo he can see from kehmesis on the side here. So I'm wondering if maybe just Honorable General is the way to go. Maybe he plays it in front to defend his about to attack units, or maybe he plays it behind and plans for future turns. Looks like the middle is the way to go. He accepts his Aging Knight will perish, hoping that Kehmesis does not have more attack buffs for this Earthborn Keeper. And he doesn't yet, but he does have Rumble. So Rumble could really mess with this formation, and that's what he plays. Moves the Honorable General right up front. Kehmesis can go up to 3 playing Earthborn Mystic, and that would allow him to kill the Honorable General. It would mean the Aging Knight and the Righteous Partisan survive and are ready to attack. And then if he does that, maybe he wants to move some of these other units down as well. Really thinking through how he wants to do this. Maybe he wants to kill the Aging Knight. And he also has to think about where to position all of his rats and nogs to best defend his more powerful units. He has a pretty heavily populated board. Does he have a move left on this rat? I think he does. He can move this rat in front, and he does, so that will protect his Earthborn Keeper. The Breaker will probably perish, but that's okay. Earthborn Mystic comes down where it can be safe, and not a bad turn by Kehmesis. Takes out the Honorable General. siRisacc will be able to counterattack and take out a few units, but Kehmesis just has so much. So siRisacc has Mangonel speed, so he could do that and take down these 3 units here, and then he could take out the rat, but couldn't do much with the Aging Knight. Goes up to 7. Yes, he does Imperial Resources, so that heals all his idols, heals all his units, draws him some scrolls, adds some order, tons of stuff on that, and gets in some combat damage for some unit kills. Kehmesis doesn't have any current damage coming in. He'll probably play both of these creatures and get up to 2 attack on this keeper, so that'll take out the Aging Knight, which with Powerbound will bump siRisacc up to 9 order now, so he's okay losing that Aging Knight, especially now that it's on 3 countdown from its own effect. Of course, the Aging Knight's base countdown goes up 1 after every attack. Units are played out. He has the Vilda the Verdant to benefit off any enchantments that the Earthborn Mystic should pull out, and those enchantments can go on the 1 to count down Earthborn Keepers or the Relentless Striped Fangbear. So Kehmesis' deck is humming along very nicely. siRisacc is playing a pure late game deck though, so he is okay losing the early advantage as long as he can solidify his defenses on exactly 3 idols, and that's what he's going to try to do. Typically, decks like siRisacc's will play Waking Stones and Warding Stones. We haven't seen those yet. He may have chosen not to play them, or he may just unfortunately have them all in the bottom of his deck. He does have some good defensive units like Royal Spearman, though. Righteous Partisan is a good card advantage unit, populates the board and draws a scroll. Can still Mangonel speed. Kehmesis is spaced relatively well around that, so nowhere siRisacc can put that to kill 3 units. 2 is the most he can do. Important positioning by Kehmesis. Tempo Theft is probably there for combos with the Honorable General and Arbalestier, which isn't a factor right now. Could infiltrate the Earthborn Keeper and prevent it from attacking for a few rounds. Has 6 resources still. Maybe infiltrate Royal Spearman. The Spearman can make these Nogs take some damage if they attack into it. Has to be careful though, because he knows Kehmesis' deck has lots of attack buffs, so he doesn't want to walk into a trap with those. Thinking very carefully. Maybe he doesn't have Powerbound to go with that Simmark Zealot yet. I don't know. The Infiltrate on the Earthborn Mystic might be good too. He does play out the Spearman with Spiky 2 and Infiltrate on the Nog. Okay, so he wants the Nog not to attack for a while. Doesn't move his units up. He wants to keep them down. Kehmesis sacrifices a Crimson Bull, finds Ragged Wolf and Wetland Ranger. The Ragged Wolf actually might be just enough to take out the Royal Spearman. Champion Ring though, that will be key. Found that off the Earthborn Mystic. Can play that Champion Ring on the Earthborn Keeper and take out one of these Partisans. Let's see if he I think if he Champion Rings, moves the Nog down, this Nog up, a Ragged Wolf in there, that actually takes out both Partisans. That's what he's going to do. So that's going to be just enough damage to get in 4 and 3 to take out both of those. A little bit of idle damage to the top, Wetland Ranger for next turn, and lots of damage on the middle. So siRisacc's going to lose the offensive side of his army down here, and he's going to have to rebuild that somewhere on the board, but he's got to be careful because Kehmesis has such good unit spread that every tile is being threatened, so there's nowhere safe for siRisacc to play anything quite yet. Kehmesis is still taking his time thinking about his own spread because he doesn't want to walk into another Mangonel speed combo. Note that these 3 units are connected, so that could be the play by siRisacc, that would cost him most of his resources. Pushback in hand returns an opponent's unit to their hand. Looks like it's been played quite a few times and a number of wins, but sacrificed pretty frequently as well. Ooh, that scroll is over a year old. That's awesome. Sacrifices for 2 scrolls, finds 2 strong knights, Arbalisteer and Releros. But I don't know if he can't afford both. He can't quite put out a lot of units yet. He needs to figure out a way. Oh, it looks like he's going to go ahead and play out the Arbalisteer. And is he going to tempo theft it? He could tempo theft with that on the Earthborn Keeper, and that would, I think that would count it down right away and get that attack off. I can't remember if that's how it still works. Here's that tempo theft, and yep, that is indeed how it works. He does go ahead and play it on the striped Fangbear, so the Fangbear won't get an attack off for quite some time, and that takes down Vilda the Verdant. Kehmesis, though, has 2 Kinfolk Veterans in hand now, which is probably still, after all the nerfs that have happened to it, one of the strongest scrolls in the game. 3 attack haste unit, gets an instant kill, and provides a continued value by just being another guy on the board. A walking 2-for-1, triggers both Earthborn Keepers for more damage. The bear moves up. What's he going to do with his little army of beasts down here? Can move those back to the middle, but has to be careful again about Mangonel's speed. The Royal Spearman will perish. Doesn't want to move anything here probably because he would fear the Arbalisteer getting another attack off with the piercing and the resonance to take out both. So he does just leave the Fangbear undefended for now. Look at how much health has been taken off of these idols. So Kehmesis is 1 or 2 key spells away from wiping 3 at once. siRisacc really needs to clamp down defensively. But it's looking at more and more likely that he doesn't have the Waking Stones or Warding Stones in his deck. Otherwise, he's tremendously unlucky, and they are 6 of the remaining 18 scrolls in his deck. Looks like he's counting more on these knights with spell backup, so it's more of a late-game knight deck than the stone control deck that some others tend to play with the power bounds. Gallant Defender is going to be key here. Wants to get that out, I would imagine. He could do that as well as a Mangonel speed combo and take down one of these 2 flanks that Kehmesis has set up. Gallant Defender is so strong because of the armor too, very powerful against growth, and it looks like that's what he's going to do. Mangonel speed comes down, that'll take out those 3 units. Resonance triggers on Arbalisteer, so down to 3 countdown. Could be ready to attack as soon as next turn. Gallant Defender or Releros is now the choice for siRisacc, and I'm thinking Gallant Defender needs to be the play to start defending these idols as best he can, defend his Arbalisteer as well. And indeed, that's what comes down front and center. So 1 flank pretty much destroyed. A Nog still survives to take out the Mangonel or maybe deal some idol damage. But that was quite a bit of pressure taken off of siRisacc from that Mangonel play. Kehmesis sacrifices for scrolls. Kinfolk Veteran championing Ragged Wolf can draw an enchantment off of Earthborn Mystic. Has a 1 countdown unit as Earthborn Keeper to play those enchantments on. 3 countdown left on the Striped Fangbear. That's left over from that tempo theft from a few turns ago, so he's still quite a ways away from getting an attack off. Probably will die before that. What would I do here? He's already sacrificed for scrolls, so maybe pull an enchantment now, see what it is. If it is a Earthen Mirth, you can do Ragged Wolf Earthen Mirth to take out the Gallant Defender. Actually, that still wouldn't take out. Yeah, it would actually, with the buff from the Earthborn Mystic, that would take out the Gallant Defender with 6 attack. But instead, he just plays out another Earthborn Mystic, plays Champion Ring on the Earthborn Keeper, which gives +4/+0 because of the both Mystics in play. Draws another Champion Ring off his deck, and now just has this unit attacking for tons of damage every turn. And with the Ragged Wolf, we'll take out that idol. Made a slight misplay, wasted 1 damage because of the rat movement. Forgot that the Ragged Wolf would trigger the Earthborn Keeper's ability up to 6 attack. But still has put on quite a bit of pressure. 1 idol falls. siRisacc needs to clamp down on 3 more idols, has Knight Sergeant, Releros, and Righteous Partisan. Righteous Partisan will be a almost certain play because of the cantripping effect, but he may, typically you want to play cantrips first so you can see what you draw before you make your sacrifice decision, but his resources are so valuable, I would have been tempted to sacrifice maybe Releros first. He does find Imperial resources, so that can provide some key healing, but it won't quite get his Arbalisteer attacking, and that's really what he wants. A Blessing of Haste or Roasted Bean Potion might be what he really wants here. Doesn't find either. No spells in hand other than the Imperial resources, so Arbalisteer will not be able to attack. We'll have to wait till next turn. So with those 7 resources, he could just play Imperial, get a ton of healing and draw, and set up for later. But you can only set up for later for so long. At some point, you just need to get some units out. So maybe what he does is Releros there in the middle with a Sin-Marked Zealot and a Power Bound on it in front, and just make it more difficult for kehmesis to attack without providing siRisacc some value. Difficult decision here, taking his time to figure it out. This is a key turn, I feel, because if he makes the wrong play, kehmesis may be able to get so much damage this turn that siRisacc won't be able to recover. I want to see him defend these bottom 3 idols to move away from that Earthborn Keeper, but he could defend the middle 3 instead if he chose. Looks like he is going for the bottom 3 as of right now, risking this second idol, which is okay. Powerbound needs to be played as well. Could play it on the Defender or the Sin-Marked Zealot, or even maybe the Righteous Partisan, but actually he decides to save it. He decides that the future order isn't as valuable as having another card in his hand that he can sacrifice next turn. 2 Kinfolk Veterans attacking, Champion Ring on the back one. That'll take down Releros. The Gallant Defender is going to be able to easily defend this middle lane. Shifting his units around. Things are a little clumped up, but he sees his opponent doesn't have a lot of cards in hand and maybe isn't as scared of the third Mangonel speed combo. But we'll see if siRisacc can find it. Lots of idle damage on the second idol. Clears some units from the 4th idol. Only 3 units left on the board for siRisacc. He finds the Mangonel. So the key to keeping that power bound in hand is now he can sacrifice it. Didn't find the 3rd speed, so he'll have to wait on that. Imperial Resources triggers the Arbalisteer because of Resonance, and I think that's what we'll see, because that's just a ton of damage coming in. He could actually kill quite a few units, I think. He'll have to decide which row to go after there. 2 Royal Spearmans in hand and a Mangonel that he can afford. The Mangonel is not very good on its own, so he'll probably play out one of these Spearmen to continue defending. The big play will be this Arbalisteer. It has piercing, so its attack will go through, but it only deals 2 damage to the back unit. So, like if he moves it to the top, it'll get 2 kills. If he moves it to the bottom, it will not kill this Kinfolk Veteran on its own. It would need some help. Royal Spearman comes down. He does go ahead and move down, so he's okay letting all of this stuff survive. I probably would have taken it out. Ooh, Rumble. That's a great way to disrupt the formation of order, but needed to sacrifice it because you rarely want to play your top decked card when you're in top deck mode. You want to sacrifice for 2 scrolls and increase your options and increase your card advantage as well. Finds an Earthen Mirth off of the Earthborn Mystic. Could play that on the Earthborn Keeper, and that would get through this powerful Gallant Defender. You need 6 damage from 1 unit to take it down, and that would be enough. It would be up to 7 damage because it's already enchanted. Nog Nest will probably come down as well. Earthen Mirth indeed does come, or actually you might play Earthborn Mystic rather than that Nog Nest. That's probably what I would do. Righteous Partisan is set to survive. This is an intense match. Both players making key decisions. Note the movement of the bear to the top, out of range of anything that siRisacc can really do. Hoping to finish off the second idol with it next turn. The key to kehmesis' offense is really this Earthborn Keeper. Keeping that Keeper alive is going to be absolutely critical. And with the addition of the second Mystic, the damage goes up to 9 now. A creature came into play plus the buff from the Mystic. So that is a really large creature. Attacking every single turn. siRisacc would love to take it out. If he finds a speed, he can do it. I think he still has a 3rd speed in these 8 scrolls, so maybe he'll get lucky here. Finds it. He found it. Okay. He could alternatively push back the unit. That would take out the enchantments and really nullify a lot of that power. But maybe what I would do here is Mangonel, speed, and you still have quite a few resources left. 5 resources. Use that to push back the Nog. Because it's a token creature. Can you push back new token creatures? I don't actually know. But you could, if he was able to, he could push back the token creature and then get in and kill that veteran. That would be pretty brutal for kehmesis. He would lose quite a bit there. But difficult choices all around. Maybe the play is push back the Earthborn Keeper and then Mangonel speed these 2 units so they're taken down. And then that would be, there's the pushback, and that's indeed what he does. So he pushbacks the Keeper. Doesn't have to mangonel speed here, but I would like to see it. Go ahead and take out this 7 attack unit while you can. Of course, a Kabonk, which he probably doesn't have in his deck, would be perfect for this situation. And then he also needs to think about how to defend that middle idol. That's going to be absolutely critical. He cannot afford to let kehmesis snipe it with any sort of enchantment he might find from his deck with this silly rat, because that would be game over with the Fangbear ready to attack. Only a few seconds left to decide, siRisacc. What are you going to do? Mangonel comes down in the middle, so it looks like he's going to use those units to defend that. Or use the Mangonel to defend the middle, crash in and kill these units, sacrifice his second idol, and let the 7 attack Kinfolk Veteran get a shot off. He's not going to want to trade with that Royal Spearman. Well, I suppose he could, but he would lose his veteran. He may take out the Righteous Partisan instead. 2 Nognest, a Keeper, and a Wetland Ranger in kehmesis' hand. His early creature advantage has pretty much evaporated, and this Arbalisteer, even though it's on 2 countdown because of the resonance, is almost certainly going to attack next turn if siRisacc can find any spell in his deck to play, and he'll probably find one. So kehmesis needs to be afraid of the Arbalisteer and position accordingly. He's going to get that second idol down, which is good, but needs to find a way to break through for the third one. Nothing in hand is going to let him do that. Getting a Keeper out will be helpful. He does play a Nognest, 2 Nognests actually, to help defend his other units, and if they survive long enough, spawn some Nogs, and then the Keeper in the middle. So he has a lot of stuff on the board again. siRisacc has some options to finish them off, to kill a bunch of these units, but he doesn't have a spell in hand, needs to find one. Will he find one when he sacrifices for Scrolls? And it's a big sacrifice decision. Lots of good creatures in hand. Maybe the Vanguard or the Spearman. The Defender he's going to definitely want. Knight Sergeant's pretty excellent too, though there's not a lot of Knights in play, so maybe he can afford to sacrifice the more expensive unit. And finds 2 summons, so he will be able to trigger the Arbalisteer. And what does he want to do with it? If he moves it here to the middle, it would take out the Nest and the Earthborn Mystic. If he moves it down, it would take out the Nest and the Veteran and deal 1 damage to this back Mystic. So a couple of choices there. Gallant Defender comes to defend the top. 7 resources to play with. I'm sure we're going to see a summons play just to trigger the Arbalisteer. It'll also find another Mangonel from the discard pile, from the graveyard. Royal Spearman comes down. Here's that summons. Finds that Mangonel. Moves down. And so he chose to take down this bottom row instead of the middle row, which I'm okay with that decision. I think that might have been the more valuable play, though it's debatable. He gets in and deals just a ton of damage. He's getting a lot of value off these Arbalisteers. No focuses in his deck, and Arbalisteer loves focus to get the 8/4/2 piercing action, plus the resonance trigger. kehmesis finds 2 no IDs and an Earthborn Keeper now. So he could Keeper into no ID and play them all, and then that would get this Earthborn Keeper up to 3 attack, which would let him take out this middle row. Oh, with an Earthen Mirth. I don't think that wins him. No, that won't win him the game, I don't think. I'm doing some math here. 5 and 5. I don't think that would do it. I was looking for combos that he could do with the double no ID into Earthen Mirth. If he can get contact with an idol, the Earthen Mirth wins it, but I don't quite think he can break through. He needs a 3rd attacking unit, or another unit in play for siRisacc to get through that Gallant Defender, the math I'm doing. So what can he do to capitalize on this? The no ID combos well with the Keeper, can get that up to some extra attack. If he had 1 more enchantment in hand, he might be able to do it, but he just doesn't quite have the pieces to pull it off. I'm looking for ways he can bash through and then have the Earthborn Mystic get enchanted and deal 7 damage to this back idol. No ID comes down. With its ability Replenish, it replaces his casting cost, so it's basically a free unit. Second no ID comes down, still 7 resources to play with. Earthborn Keeper comes down, up to 3 now. Is he going to play the Earthen Mirth, or is he going to save it? He decides to save it, so he gets in, crashes. What he's planning on now is he has this Relentless Striped Fangbear. He can play his enchantment on and get that up to a 10/2 Relentless, unless siRisacc can stop it. And he has Infiltrate in hand to stop it if he sees this relentless damage coming, and I think he probably does. Infiltrate might be the answer. Still would need to fear rallying, but probably not too concerned about that. I don't think kehmesis has rallying in his deck, at least if he does, it hasn't really come up. Infiltrate on the Fang Bear, so he plays defensively, siRisacc does, and correctly identifies the threat. Still needs to be careful though with these two units attacking. If either of them get contact with an idol with that Earthen Mirth in kehmesis' hand, that's just going to be it. That's going to be game. So any extra defense he can come up with is going to be key here. 4 resources left. Has already played out a Releros, can't play out a second one. Aging Knight will probably come down just to be another body defending. I'd like to see him play that in the middle and move the Arbalestier up for extra options next turn. But looks like maybe he's content leaving the Aging Knight in the middle and trusting this Gallant Defender to hold down the fort. That's so scary. So scary. Another enchantment from kehmesis and he might be able to break through. Like Rat King and then Champion Ring would probably do it. All this enchantment synergy, it's so scary. He does go ahead and play out the Mangonel as the extra body to defend the middle idol, and I really like that play. That is just a very safe play that makes it difficult for kehmesis to, even if he is able to get through the Gallant Defender, break through for the kill. Crimson Bowl and Earthen Mirth in hand. Crimson Bowl isn't very good this turn, would be phenomenal next turn, but can't afford to wait. There's that Rat King. He could rumble here. If it rumbles correctly, the follow-up Rat King would provide just enough attack to maybe get the win. That was not a good rumble. Nothing went up is where he wanted them all to go. Not a very good rumble. What can he do here? He's got the Earthen Mirth, he's got the Rat King. Rat King buffs them up all to 3/3s, or 3 attack, at least 3/3 up here and a 3/1 down here. Let's see. Maybe he just Earthen Mirths on one and just starts to attack with it every turn, and that's what he does. He's got to shift that behind his Nog Nest, but my concern is that siRisacc will be able to just kill it with his attacking units next turn. So while he will be able to take out the Releros, siRisacc's deck is ready to start rolling now, defending 3 idols, and is going to be able to take out this Earthborn Keeper next turn, I believe. So I don't think that play will work out for kehmesis too well. But it will be able to take out the Releros at least. I suppose if siRisacc has no tricks at all, then the Keeper will survive, but he's probably got something. Nothing in hand right now, and he's just got creatures in hand. Needs some way to buff attack, and finds a summons. So actually, the Keeper is going to survive, I believe. So the gamble played off for kehmesis. I didn't expect the gamble to pay off. Needed a second spell to get the Arbalestier triggered, but doesn't find it. Moves the Gallant Defender up. So even though he won't be able to kill the Keeper, at least he can defend really well still. He needs to keep an eye on his unit count. He needs to keep it equal to or less than his opponent's. His opponent has 7. He's got 5. So he can afford to play 2 units out without ruining his Gallant Defender's armor. So we're going to see the second defender come down probably here on the second idol, and then maybe Releros. That would be, he's got 5 on now, and then maybe Releros comes down and wouldn't want to play that Sinmark Zealot yet. There's the Releros defending the Arbalestier. I would expect the Gallant Defender there, actually. There's a Summons. Oh, very clever play. I didn't see that. He plays the Releros, and then its Resonance ability triggers off the Summons, buffing the attack of the Royal Spearman and the Gallant Defender, so that will be enough of a trick to get in and kill that Keeper, and then he intelligently moves the Releros down, leaving room for the Gallant Defender to slide in. Very nicely done. Of course, killing these units will expose the defenders. They won't have armor anymore, at least until kehmesis plays a few more units, but strong play by siRisacc. Able to get through and get that kill on the Keeper and defend all of these idols. Okay, kehmesis, what are you going to be able to do now? You only have 4 guys. Need to find a way to break through. It's going to sacrifice for scrolls. Not really dealing a ton of damage this turn. Could sacrifice these mystics for enchantments, but they would die. They're only on 1 health now. Sacrifices the Rat King, finds a Brute and a Brave. Very strong scrolls, but right now needs, I don't know what he really needs. He needs siRisacc to not attack for a few turns so he can rebuild up his board. That's what kehmesis needs. I don't think that's going to happen though. Playing the Veteran would allow him to take out one of the Gallant Defenders, which is probably a serious goal of his. but I don't see a way to get in and get that Arbalestier. Really, I only see maybe killing a couple of units. Like he could take out, I think he could take out both defenders this turn, which is great, and probably something he wants to go ahead and do. And that would be just moving this no ID up, and then the Kinfolk Veteran up here, and that would take out both defenders. And then he could even afford to play a Brave, preparing to attack next turn, and maybe hope that with all those special army units killed, he can move his units, his Brave and Bear, down from the second row and maybe get a kill next turn. But he's going to lose a lot on siRisacc's counterattack no matter what he does. He does go ahead and shift up, and he's going to take out both defenders. Brave comes down on top, and so he's ready to get maybe an Alpha Strike next turn with both these defenders down. siRisacc only one card in hand, so doesn't have a ton of options. Now up to 2. Will sacrifice his Powerbound immediately. Finds a summons and oh my gosh, a summons and a speed. This is going to be brutal. What we're going to see here, we're going to see summons played out to find another Mangonel. He's going to speed this Mangonel, then play out both Mangonels. Does he have the resources? 3, 6, 9? He can do it. He can get 3 Mangonels attacking this turn. One of them is going to whiff, but the other 2 are going to hit. He's going to kill everything that kehmesis has right here, right now, if he wants to. And frankly, I think he wants to. Oh look, check that out. The summons found a Royal Banner instead of the Mangonel. That's not what he wants to see. He can still... Oh shoot, that's really unfortunate for siRisacc. He can still get one Mangonel getting an attack off and take out a ton of stuff. Actually, with that Royal Spearman positioning, I think he's already moved it. He can't take out both the Brave and the Mystic. Or, I'm sorry, both the Bear and the Mystic. So he's maybe going to want to play the Mangonel up top here. Maybe he plays that and then speeds it, and then doesn't speed this one, so it will count down next turn and re-trigger this Mangonel. Lots of Mangonel dancing going on, basically. But really unfortunate, that Royal Banner draw. That's the downside of having structures other than Mangonels in this deck. When you use that summons, you don't find the Mangonel like you want. 8 seconds to decide, and has lots of... it's a very challenging play here. He actually opts not to play the Mangonel. He plays the Royal Banner, so that will... stop the Bear from attacking next turn, but he's still going to get a big attack off and needs 13 total damage to win the game here. With the Crimson Bull, he's already up to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so actually doesn't need very much. Finds a Rumble. If this rumbles correctly, Rumble Crimson Bull will end the game here. He's got a shot. Plays the no ID. Gets the resources back from the replenish. I want to see this Rumble. Here's the Rumble. Where's things going to go? That might do it. That might do it. There's the Crimson Bull. He needs a total of 5, 10 damage, and he's... Oh, 1 damage is wasted from the Kinfolk Brave. 1 damage is not relentless and will be wasted, so he can bring this idol down to 1 health. So close. Not quite able to do it. He can at least kill off the Arbalestier with the Bear. But, oh my gosh, siRisacc's counterattack is going to clear everything kehmesis has. Oh my goodness, 1 attack on that, 1 damage on that central idol. We'll have to go back on the replay and see if kehmesis ever wasted 1 damage. Actually, he did. Remember that Ragged Wolf play up at maybe 10 rounds ago? He wasted 1 damage from a Ragged Wolf. If that would have been directed to the middle idol, I don't know if he would have been able to, but that would have been game. Looks like he's going to go ahead and do the strike on the middle. It's not quite going to win the game, but at least it'll put him in a position where if he can get just 1 damage in, it will be enough. Oh my gosh, so unfortunate for kehmesis, and this counterattack is going to be brutal, absolutely brutal. Tempo Theft, Speed, Mangonel, all sorts of combos he can do. He's got the combo with Arbalestier and Resonance. siRisacc still hasn't done much idle damage at all, a total of 3. So he needs to close the game out at some point, but he's really locked down and is definitely the favorite at this point. He's going to clear kehmesis' board almost certainly, and then, well, kehmesis has nothing on the board, no cards in hand. Good luck coming back from that. It may be time to concede for kehmesis. There's the... Tempo Theft, so that will be enough for the board clear. More creatures are coming down, continuing to lock things down. An incoming attack right here, right now. Retheros gets a kill, Aging Knight gets a kill, Arbalestier gets a kill, the Sinmark Zealot gets a kill. kehmesis finds a Champion Ring. Of course, we'll sacrifice that and hope against hope for some creatures, but I don't think there's anything he can draw at this point. Just playing down a Breaker does nothing. He's several turns away from getting another big attack off. No real countdown reduction in his deck that I've seen. Really, the kehmesis' deck is built on getting an early advantage and snowballing to victory, and can't do that at this point. As long as siRisacc is careful and doesn't get an unlucky rumble. kehmesis could win off of a lucky rumble with a haste unit to get that last damage in. So siRisacc may want to just stack the second row just to make the rumble less likely to move these units away. 11 resources to play with here. I just like to see him play that Honorable General out right there in the middle, and that's what he does. So actually only 2 units in the middle. Speed comes down, everything's attacking now, resonance triggers, that's a ton of damage coming in. So the Honorable General speed play. It won't kill any idols, but it is going to re-clear kehmesis' board and deal a ton of damage, and it's not going to be long. Actually, he does go ahead and take out the middle idol. It's not going to be long before siRisacc is able to finish off these idols now. kehmesis looking to try to find a comeback. No creatures to play, just some spells and enchantments, so there's nothing he can do this turn. So he just passes and cries a little tear of sadness. Infiltrate, not what siRisacc's looking for. He pitches it, finds tempo theft for more countdown reduction. I don't think he can get the Honorable General to trigger quite yet, but he can play another Arbalest Deer, I suppose, and get that attacking. He could tempo theft off of the Sin-Marked Zealot. Just maximizing damage. Actually, yeah, okay. He can tempo theft off the Honorable General. I was misreading the scroll. So he gets everything to attack. He traded it with the Sin-Marked Zealot, which immediately was countered down by the General. All that damage comes in, and just not quite enough to finish it off. Gets pretty darn close, though. It'll be finished off probably next turn, I would guess. 7 damage on that bottom idol, 7 on the second idol, and that's down to 1. General comes in and finishes the idol. And kehmesis now, I would concede in this situation. It's all but over. He can play the beefiest breaker ever and get a bunch of enchantments on it, but kehmesis knows that it's over, so he concedes. Very well done. A long match, but a really intense one. Those middle turns were key. kehmesis desperately trying to find a hole in siRisacc's defense and was not able to. This has been Smokin' with Scrollscast. Check out the Badger Guild YouTube channel for more from this series. Thank you for watching.